Alright, Shalom. Before I begin, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. I would like to say double honors to my teachers, the apostles, and the elders of Great Millstone, the men whom I've learned this truth from, and also Shalom and salutations to the elect that's out there preaching this word in truth and sincerity. Alright, so I'm the brother Shaquat from the branch of Great Millstone, Montreal. I'm back with another lesson, and this lesson is going to be somewhat of an impromptu style lesson, basically some thoughts that I put together with a couple precepts. Alright, so I'm just going to jump straight into it and begin here in the book of Luke 21 and verse 24. And it says, "And they shall fall by the edge of the sword." Right? And this, they, as referring to the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? And what was that sword that we fell by? Was the so-called white man, right? But to give a specific time period, this would be dealing with 6970 AD, right? And the power, the nation with power at that point in time were the Romans, right? So this is speaking about the Edomites, the Roman Edomites, right? For lack of better words, the Roman Empire. This was during the time of the Roman Empire, right? And one proof to prove that this sword is speaking about the Edomites, let me get this real quick. Because the Romans are Edomites, right? Psalm 17 and verse 13. It says, "Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword," right? So who is wicked? Pursuant to Malachi, the first chapter and the fourth verse, the wicked is put in the same sentiment as the Edomites, basically referring to the Edomites as the wicked. So the wicked, which are the Edomites, are known as the sword of the Heavenly Father, right? Another word that you can attach to the Edomites is the sword, right? And once again, to prove that they are the sword, when you go back to their forefather, Tubal Cain, right? It goes into even before that, Cain, right? His name means a weapon, right? Matter of fact, let's get it real quick. Genesis 4, because there's no rush. Genesis 4 and verse 2, the word Cain Quayan, right? In the Hebrew, possession. No, I don't believe that's the right definition. It's not possession. Let's see. More. Salakia. Definition. First minor again. A definition of the name. Salakia, the name Cain. Inquisition. No. spear craftsman. Alright, which that's more accurate. A spear, you know. Yeah, but I forgot where the right definition is. But that definition of the name Cain is weapon or spear. Alright, but then when you go to Tubal Cain, Genesis 4:23, it says, and Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. Right? So this is dealing with Tubal Cain, right? And it says here, and Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, right? So he was into weaponry. Let me see what that says in the NLT. Genesis 4 verse 22. Lamech's other wife, Zillah, gave birth to a son named Tubal Cain. He became an expert in forging tools of bronze and iron. Right, Tubal Cain had a sister named Naamah, right? And when you also go into the Roman Empire, that word iron is also attached to them. I believe that's Daniel 7, the 7th chapter goes into that. I think that Daniel 2 as well. But yeah, showing you that the Romans are Edomites. So let me go back to the KJV and get the definition of the word or the name Tubal Cain. Let's see. Tubal Cain. Double. Right. Definition. It doesn't give the right definition. Worker of metal. No. Securia of metal. Winter of working in iron. So double is double something, right? A double weapon, double spear, double sword, or something. When I get that information, I'm gonna put Lord willing, I'll do a quick video to jump into it. But yeah, the Edomites are into weaponry, and that's why they're known as the sword of the Heavenly Father, because the Lord put the Spirit on them to deal with weaponry, to be what you would know as a weapon, a literal weapon. Their whole modus operandi is destruction, right? Because that's what a weapon does. It destroys things, it cuts things in two, and so on and so forth, right? And that's the case with the so-called white man, all right? And that's what makes him the sword of the Heavenly Father. So let's go back to Luke 21 and verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, right? So the Israelites will fall by the Edomites, right, which are the Romans, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And how were we led away captives? By fleeing from the Roman persecution, which the Israelites went into the interiors of Africa, right? Micah, the 2nd chapter, goes into that. Revelation 11, how that, and we landed predominantly in Western Africa, right? But all over the world, really, It says, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled, right? So Jerusalem, which is the Israelites, it's a people before it's a place, will be trodden down of these other nations, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And what does it mean by that? Their time to be fulfilled is when their rulership has come to an end. The expiration of the rulership, draws nigh. That's when our captivity, us being trodden down, will come to an end. And guess what? That's when Yahushua would return, right? Because the prophecy states that Yahushua would come at the feet of the statue in the book of Daniel. And who would be ruling at the feet? The Edomites, once again, right? But this is not the ancient Roman Empire or the ancient Babylon. This is the newly revived Roman Empire, and another Babylon, a new Babylon, a new Babylon, and that's America. You see? Hey, so with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. Straight to the point. I want to say, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ruach HaKodesh. Once again, double honors to my teachers, the apostles, and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the elect.